Thank you, Nilima. Thank you for the warm welcome. And hello, everyone. I think it's your evening time there in Manchester, and here it's mid-afternoon for us in Canada. And thank you to Ruth and the team for the invitation and for keeping these talks going. I know I listen to them and really enjoy them. So thank you for that. I'm here today. Nilima, when you said you don't do journaling, I was thinking, gosh, I don't either. I was never good at journaling. So then I wondered, what am I doing here on the writing talk? So I suppose today will be the tools that work for me because I found journaling didn't really work for me. And maybe I had the wrong idea about journaling, but I actually, as a teenager, I had a diary and it was a dear diary. Um, this happened today. So and so said something to me. I just found it all really boring. So, as an adult, learning that journaling was helpful, I just had the old idea in my head to write down what happened in the day. And I found it, again, very boring. And so it's not a practice that I do. So I hope that's okay. But I love to write. And so I guess I found ways to keep myself using the tool of writing for clarity and calm that aren't journaling. So today I have 5 tools I'm going to offer you and see if they're useful for you. So why don't we just begin, even just with a moment of getting yourself settled into the space and taking a deep breath in. And hopefully you have with you something that you can write on and a proper pen. If you have a book, that's great, or something, a notepad, because I am going to have you write as part of this session. So it'll be a bit experiential. But I'd like to give you just a little bit of background about me and how I came to writing and how this fits in how does this fits in a spiritual life? Because as a kid, I think I was 13 and I wrote what I considered my first novel. I mean, it was 20 pages on my dad's, IBM Selectric that he brought home from work. And, it wasn't very good, but I guess I always had this desire to write something. And it started really early. But since coming to meditate, I found that writing has taken on a very different dimension and a different purpose for me. It really is for clarity. And for me, when I have clarity, I'm calm. So I usually start my writing with either, if not confusion, then a state of unclarity, let's say. And then the writing brings me to a place of clarity and then calm. So I found it a very useful tool. But in the context of soul, honestly, for me, why would we write in a spiritual context as a meditator, as someone on a journey of self discovery through spirituality? And I think it is really to touch the core of the soul. I found this beautiful picture. I think it's a rock formation in the US, but it looks a bit like sand too. But you just see the layers and layers here in this picture. And I think we understand when we come to the Brahma Kumaris to meditate, we discover very quickly that there are layers and layers in the soul. And instead of, removing each layer one at a time and trying to peel back and find the real me, which would take oh so long, um, we just kind of go deep under all the layers and we activate the core energy of the soul. And then that shines through and the light shines through all these layers. So I feel that instead of excavating, writing sort of helps you touch the core of you more quickly. And for that reason, I considered it a really good tool. I began writing inside my spiritual life About 26 years ago, when I was asked if I could write a daily thought every day for a country where there was no meditation center, where in fact they weren't allowed to have a meditation center, it would have been seen as trying to convert people away from, the religion of that land. And I was given two instructions. You have to write it every day. Well, that was the first, but the second and third was it has to be substantive. It has to be juicy. It has to be something that, in lieu of going to the center every day, they would have something to churn, something to think about and study and contemplate. So that was one. And the second instruction I was given was it can't say God, it can't say soul. It has to be and no other jargon that would be in the BK world. And I said yes to this. I was maybe a year, maybe 2 years. I'm 28 years now with the Brahma Kumaris. So it was early, 1 or 2 years into my time as a student, that I was asked to do this. And I said, yes, with the blush of innocence. And well, 26 years later, every day I write one of these thoughts. And as it turns out, it's been the greatest gift I could ever have received, because for the first 10, 11 years of my life here as a student, there was only one other person at the center, at our little place, not even really a center, but a little place. And he worked shift work. So he would work nights where I would teach programs. And then in the morning, we'd meet for our morning class. He would sleep all day. I would go to work and take care of kids. And then the pattern would repeat for 11 years. So I didn't really have anyone to talk to. And these daily thoughts became my way of making sense of what I'd heard in the morning class. So sometimes things are said in the morning class that, you accept and you go, yeah, that sounds great. And then I thought, okay, how would I explain this to my mother? Or how would I explain this to my children? Or how would I explain this to a coworker who is not interested in spirituality? And so that was my starting point for writing. And I would write until it made sense to me. So that was the benefit that I received as I worked through something, and then that it could make sense for others. I mean, I've been doing this every day for 26 years. I think some of them are much clearer than others. It depends on my state of mind, but what a great practice. What a great practice it has been for me. And I'm so grateful to have been asked so many years ago. So, Sister Shivani, a wonderful speaker, many of you might know, was just here in Halifax 7 days ago. And she said many, many, many wise things. And I caught one of the wise things she said, and I turned it into a daily thought. You may not be able to see the screen, it's too small, but I put pictures with them now, which I think is so much fun. So what she said was, we don't need freedom from people to be free. We need freedom from our own clutter. And I thought, wow, yes, I agree. I believe that. It seems like a true statement to me, but unpack it, write about it until I get clear. So this is what I wrote. I haven't read it again since I wrote this last week, but clear space is the experience of inner freedom. My subconscious mind holds the clutter accumulated from a lifetime and more of experience. This emotional and mental baggage makes it difficult for me to feel clean inside. As I empower the soul, I am no longer pulled by inner clutter. There are still things stored in my subconscious, but they do not tug at my heart and mind, demanding my attention. The path to inner freedom, that was our theme for the tour of Sister Shivani. The path to inner freedom is a journey to empower the soul. I am becoming more powerful than the emotional baggage I carry. Today, let me turn my attention to inner cleaning. So, I mean, that could use some work, that could get edited and cleaned up a little bit. So, but you get the idea. Every day I take something and I try and make sense of it. So again, I always apply that must be substantive, not just a one word quote that we see on Facebook. It has to give, and we have a whole bunch of people who treat this as their morning meditation and study practice. Those who aren't regular morning students at the BK Center here use this for their morning contemplation or study. So it's been a great opportunity, and I look forward to the challenge every day to figure out how I'm going to explain something to myself, but always in mind I have someone who doesn't know this knowledge, who is even not spiritually inclined, interested or open, let's say. So this is where I began. And then Nilima said about books. Somehow all of these books came out of me and my friends along the way, because all of these books are co-written. So my name gets put on the front of them often because people here say, I want to give this to my niece, but if it says Brahma Kumari's on the front of it, she won't read it. So, I mean, my daughters would not put their names on the front of Seven Secrets of the Universe, even though 50% of the words in this book are from their pen, and they were teenagers at the time. But all of these books, I mean, I went looking, everybody says I've written 5 books. And so I thought, I'm sure there's more than that. But anyways, here's some of them. The latest one is actually this one, The Soul Never Dies. And it's the journey of ego deconstruction in the meditation process, but parallel to when a soul leaves the body. First the earth element, then the fire element, then the water element, etc. That was really fun. And I wrote that with 3 other souls. You can see there's many different names on these books. So somehow it's been my way to study. I think every one of these topics has interested me. Beautiful Thoughts is the daily thought. Somebody during COVID said they wanted to give their friend the daily thoughts. Do you have a book? And I said, I do not. And I said, if you send me, we reached out to about 50 people who received the daily thoughts from around the world. We said, send us your favorite 10 and we'll turn it into a book. And some sent us 30 or 40, which was helpful. And then we turned them into a book, and it was just meant as a Christmas gift. So all of these things have a history, a reason for being written, but really helped me study. So why do we write? For me, the number one reason is to be essence-full. Excuse me, I'm going to have to find a throat lozenge, which I have right here. Sorry about that. There we go. So one of the reasons, and I think when we meditate and when we study spiritually, part of what we're doing is finding the essence of who we are, our true essence at the core. And of course, the essence, if you think about lavender, how many tons does it take to make a little vial of oil, lavender oil? Essence is the concentrated version of something. So instead of the expansion of so many words, to be able to say something short and sweet, but full of meaning is essence. And I remember early in my student life here, I remember having a thought once, expansion is fascinating. We love to hear everybody's stories and he said, she said, and then they did. And expansion is actually fascinating, but I find essence breathtaking. And if I can get to the essence of something, I just find it thrilling. I just find it thrilling. It just keeps me writing. So we want to get to the essence. Ernest Hemingway is attributed with this, but we know he didn't write this because this existed, this statement here, when he was only 7 years old. But it's known to be the shortest story ever. 6-word short story. For sale, baby shoes, never worn. Isn't that brilliant? It just conjures up a whole story in your mind. So that would be essence, essence-full. So one of the tools I use to get myself essence full, and it's a great writing tool. I do a chart every night. I have a little chart book by my bed that We, a team of us here, create. There's about 8 of us that are regular charters, and we generate questions for the chart. And one of the questions is, what's my newspaper headline for today? And we do this in groups as well. Give us a newspaper headline to capture where you're at right now, say. So I'm going to invite you to do that, to write an 8-word newspaper headline to describe where you're at right now. So think about the kind of day you've had. Think about all that happened to you today. Think about your overall journey and where you're at, what phase, kind of state you're in right now on your journey. I'm going to invite you to write that down in your notebook or on your paper that you've brought with you. And then we'll put it in the chat box and we'll see everybody's 8 words. So this is getting essenceful by using just 8 words. Oh, I think there are some coming in. Oh, no. So go ahead and put them in the chat box if you'd like. Your 8-word headlines. And this is a practice of getting essence-full, because you have to take your whole day and boil it down to just 8 words. So it's a good practice, a really good practice to keep yourself essence-full. So let's see. I'm not sure if everyone, oh yeah, there we go. I made it. My goal of today. Thank you, Alice. Wonderful. Okay, I made it. My goal for today. Great. Let's see if we've got others coming. Made it my goal for today. Transformation ahead in between the storm and chaos. Lovely. Thank you, Nanda. Asta, enjoying the roller coaster, preparing for up and down. Okay, very good. Kay's got one there. Kev's got one there. Recovering from deep trauma and living with grief. Oh, all right, Kev. Sending you good wishes. Anyone else got an 8-word headline? High and low. High with work achievement, low with grief. Thank you, Nelma. Again, sending you good wishes. Not living life's dreams stuck in mud. I am in a small town in Turkey. That's my headline. That's great. Bringing the best in me and others. Thank you, Ganesh. Missing home and feeling a bit restless. Thank you, Renu. Sarla, productive and fulfilling day. Amandeep, when the old met new, transformation began to bloom. Lovely. Great, energetic start, slower afternoon, calmer evening. Thank you, Paula. Okay. So, and here's mine. I did mine earlier today. Center coordinator gets spiritual promotion to behind the scenes support. I hope that's 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, it's not really. Behind the scenes, let's call that one word. Anyway, center coordinator gets spiritual promotion to behind the scenes support. So I consider it a great promotion that others here are so capable of being upfront. So that's my headline for today. So the idea is, though, what does it feel like inside when you do that? And I don't know about you, but for me, anytime I write 8 words to sum up something, I feel very concentrated inside, and I feel very clear-minded. It's like I've navigated my way through a bunch of emotions, a bunch of feelings, a bunch of details, and I've landed on the essence, and it feels good, which is why I like to do it. And so that's one reason or one way to go about writing. Another is looking for newness. I find through writing we get some newness emerging. So I'm going to ask you, I ask myself fairly regularly a positive question. And like I said, we have this chart book. I'm going to send it to you, Ruth. I think you might enjoy it. I don't know. We just made our new one for the fall starting September 1st. But we generate a series of positive questions that are like a catalyst or a prompt. And so every night when we go to bed, there's a new question, and we don't know what the question's going to be, which makes it interesting. And it's a positive question. And then it activates my creative thinking energy and my reflection. So I ask myself a positive question. So here's one I'm going to ask you. And may I invite you again to be ready to write, that you write down the first thing that comes into your mind in response to the question, because that's where the newness comes. You might even surprise yourself with the answer. So here it is. Here's your question. What do I love most about my spiritual journey in this moment? So, what do you love most about your spiritual journey right here, right now? And write down the first thing that comes into your head. Okay, I see we have some connection to the divine, enlightening freedom, the family, deep silence, comfort and safety, reconnection, a path where I see with clarity and understanding everyone has their own journey, protects me from losing all hope, reconnection to myself, enjoyment, learning to rely on myself as well. Thank you, everyone. These are beautiful. The courage I'm building to work through discomfort. Good, Kev. Good to hear that. And enjoying the moment. Okay. Wow. Okay. Was that new for you? I find when I ask myself, this is just one question, but it's meant as, and JC's got the true strength in me shining bright. Beautiful. So this is one way to activate, to discover newness, again through writing. I'm asking myself a question. I'm going to write down the answer. And my answer was sweetness, the start of a new phase. That's what I'm enjoying, what I love most right now. I'm going to add a layer to the. I've got a bunch of questions for you. I'm happy to copy these questions, send them in the chat box in a minute to all of you. But I have we generate lists and lists and lists of questions here because we want new ones every time we do a chart book. So I think this is from one of our last chart books. What question lies at the heart of my inner journey today? So even naming a question is interesting writing exercise. What question, if answered, would make the greatest difference to my happiness right now? What is my heart longing for? So some of them are a little more intellectual, some a little bit more feeling. What's important to me about today and why? What draws me to stay with this? With this could be anything. With this spiritual journey, with this job, with this relationship, what draws me to stay with this? What's my intention today? What is the deeper purpose here? Worthy of my best effort now. I have more. What opportunities can I see in this situation? What would God say to me at the end of this day? What do I still need to learn based on today's experiences? What are the dilemmas, opportunities I am facing now? What assumptions do I need to test or challenge? What is taking shape in me right now? What am I hearing inside myself as a quiet voice of wisdom after living today's scenes, today's drama. What's emerging in me now? What new connections am I making? And what had real meaning for me from today's experiences? So many questions. We have a new batch. I think the next batch this is from a couple of years ago, actually. These are a little bit heavier. We didn't use all of these, but gives you the idea, a prompt or a catalyst. Once we made a book, a booklet that had at the top of each page one of these questions and a blank page. And it was a Christmas gift for the group here at the center. And it was a prompt for them to write, to just randomly in the morning open the book at any page and write in response to that question. Somebody I know has questions like this printed on little slips of paper and sits down by her tea, where she drinks tea every day, and she goes with her journal and she picks one and then she writes. So questions are very helpful to get you started, get you responding to something, which saved me from my dear diary today. I went to the grocery store kind of writing. Oh, what happened there? Oh, it's funny. I'm going to escape and get back in again. Okay. The other thing that I find useful is to associate an image or an object as a metaphor. So I put a butterfly because, it always represents transformation, but to make an intuitive association with something physical, with an image, in order to reveal a deeper awareness. And so then I see something new in me, something that I know that I didn't know that I knew, if you know what I mean, pulling something new up. So I'm going to ask you the same question. What do you love most about your spiritual journey in this moment? But now to select an object, something sitting near you, wherever you're sitting, as a symbol that represents, that symbolizes what you love most. So I'm not going to be able to see everyone, but I can show mine. I'm going to pick this, and you can write in the chat box if you'd like the object that you've chosen. Crayons, nice. And so the question is, how does this symbolize what I love most? I wrote, I love sweetness entering a new phase. When I picked up the battery, I thought, actually, what I really love right now is I feel like I'm recharging. I'm recharging with some new energy, some new ideas, new approach. So battery represents recharge. Now, only having picked this up and answered the question, do I know that about myself? Because I didn't know that before this very moment, actually. I didn't know that I'm recharging, but I am. Good. Looking at the dogs, pure unconditional love. Lovely. Thanks, Lynn. As I'm writing, I'm learning about myself. Lovely. The pen. Great. An island with greenery and growth in a sea. Lovely. Nice. Natalie. Alice, eyeglasses. Okay, and what do they symbolize? Alice, is that making the connection is where we unlock something in the soul. And then, so you could free write and just write, how do my glasses represent what I love most about my journey in this moment? And in the free writing, to see more clearly, lovely. And you could actually write even more if you wanted, and it would flow. Like if I started writing right now with this battery, I would say I feel like I'm recharging. But I just finished a very complex, big service project. Why am I feeling recharged? Because engaging in that level of service was fun and enjoyable and lighthearted and with people that I appreciate and respect and I could go on and I'd start writing. And before you know it, I'd be in a very different state of mind. I'd be in a very appreciative state of mind, right? And I would discover something about myself. Great, Renu. My plants as I'm growing just like them. Wonderful. Ganesha's got a book. Sue's got a ball of wool to knit a new creation in my mind. Wonderful. Okay. And we could go the next step and write more about that if we wanted to. But I'm going to ask you a couple more questions. Kate, my bed, the comfort inside, lovely. I'm going to ask you a couple questions about this. And I'd like you again just to write down your first answers, what comes to mind. So, first question is, what happened inside of you when I asked you the question? What do you love most about your spiritual journey right now? Take a moment and reflect. What happened inside of you when you were asked that question? I know I stopped cold and then I floundered for a minute and then poof, it became clear. Okay, nice. Feel free to share if you'd like on that. Enthusiastic, serenity. That's what you felt inside. Knowledge, wisdom, nice. Okay. All right, next question. Oh, we've got more coming. I had to think, can I answer or not? Haha, nice. Okay, good. Good. See, even now we're discovering more about ourselves. Okay, next question. What happened inside of you when you moved to get an object, when you were asked to find an object? I know I kind of scanned my horizon and went, oh, I don't know. I don't know. And then all of a sudden, the horizon on this desk turned into potential. Everything I looked at was potential. It was very nice. And then I picked one that seemed to fit quite quickly. Again, you could write about this. Right, confused at first. And then, so now what we could be writing about, if you're sharing in the chat box, but if we were writing, again, these are questions as prompts to get yourself moving, to get newness coming up from inside of you. What we're discovering is our own process. We're learning a little bit more about how I respond and how I make associations, right? Okay, I think I had one more question. I'm not sure. What happened inside of you when you tried to explain why you chose this object? I mean, isn't that interesting? I also, I stopped again, like it wasn't obvious to me. And then suddenly it became obvious. And this is the beauty of writing. This is the beauty of asking yourself questions, is that things that are inside of you suddenly become obvious. But you didn't know that until you asked yourself the question. Right. Yes, so difficult to put in words, suddenly it clicked. So you had the same experience I had. Isn't that interesting? Um, yeah, once I picked the thing, then I had no idea how to explain. And honestly speaking, to me, this is the beauty of asking myself questions. If I knew the answer, it wouldn't be very interesting. But I don't know the answer. So the best question is one you don't know the answer to, because then you'll discover something new inside of you. So thank you. I think that was tool number 2. Yeah. So now we're going on to discovery, which is kind of connected to the newness inside of us. But discovery now in this case, I guess that was tool number, oh yeah, that was tool number 3, the metaphor. So the first was the essence, the headline. Second was the asking yourself a question. The third was using a metaphor to make an association, which then releases more newness inside of you, all part of discovery. But then I've got another one. This is a fourth one. Um, I think in the UK, I know this has been used as a reflection strategy. I remember when Manda came, Sister Manda from Oxford came here, and she stayed for about 3 weeks, maybe 10 years ago, a long time ago. And we did a bunch of writing exercises. And I know one of them, she loved, and we've used many a time. I've only used a couple of times here with a group, but as an individual, I find it just a beautiful tool. And that is this where you write to something. So let's say I'm wanting to explore peace. I'm wanting to become more peaceful, or I feel I need peace in myself, in my life right now. So I write to peace, dear peace. And so just take a moment, if you would, here, dear peace, let's say, or you can pick another quality. Maybe you need love right now, dear love, or dear happiness, or dear contentment. Just pick one because you're only going to have a couple minutes to do this, but I'll leave you with the exercise. So you write to it, dear peace, how I have experienced you in the past. So I'm a dear peace, in the past, I have experienced you when I'm sitting in the forest or sitting on the beach, or I'm alone with a cup of tea. Let me say, I go on and I write to peace. And I'm just reminding peace of our history together. And then I'll go, but peace, this is how I need you right now. So, dear peace, right now, I need you to fill in the space in my mind where, I have worry about this thing, whatever. I can't write it for you, but I'll leave you with the prompt. And I don't time myself. I just write until I'm done. But that's a really good prompt. And you discover a lot about what you really do need. And you discover a lot about your relationship with this thing that you need. And then I stop. I usually read it back to myself. And there's insight when you read back to yourself. But then I write back to myself from that quality. So in this case, peace would be writing to me, and peace would be saying to me, dear soul, this is how I am here for you. Okay, this is how I am here. This is how I am here for you. I am here for you as as a constant friend. I am quietly waiting in the background of your busyness. And so here I go. I'm off. I'm off and running now. And we just keep going. And it gives peace this quality of being very real and very accessible to me, because peace is describing to me how it is present in my life. And then the next question, this is how you can use me now. You can use me by ... by coming to sit quietly next to me in the meditation room. Okay, you get the idea. So this is a prompt, but this is a very intentional discovery. I know I need something. And instead of saying, I need more peace, I'm not peaceful, I should be peaceful, when will I get peace? I can go through all of that waste thinking, but that's a very nice moment to sit down and write to peace. And I mean, you can do anything you want. I just made this up. You can write anything you want. You can create your own questions. But I have found over the years, one time I did the series of the 5 core qualities of the soul: the peace, love, power, purity, happiness, or bliss. And I wrote to each of them. And at the end, I was very clear on which ones I didn't know so well. I thought I knew, but I actually didn't know. Through this writing process, I discovered. Another time I did it with the 8 powers that we teach here. And I discovered again, I think I did 4 in the morning, 4 at night. And I discovered again which ones I needed, or I thought I knew, but I didn't know. So it was very useful. Okay, that's the discovery. Now this one, I'm not sure we are going to have time. I think we are going to have time to do this. Okay. Hopefully you have a fresh piece of paper, and we'll only do 2 or 3 minutes. So it won't be long, but I'll invite you a fresh piece of paper. And I know we've done this in the UK because I think I brought this to Madhaban once. And we did it in Madhaban, and I know it went back to all the different countries because it was such a great little tool. It's called spiral writing, and it's like free writing, where you just write without critiquing, without stopping, without thinking and editorializing. And we put a little star at the center of the page. And then I usually start from the outside of the page. So I treat the star like my destination, and I am going to write my way to arrive at my destination, but I'm going to write in a spiral. So as I write, I have to keep turning my page. Some of you may have done this before. And the value of this kind of free writing is that you're not left brain. You're not writing in straight lines, which is very much associated with logical, analytical thinking. Instead, you're writing in a circle, which is very right brain. And so things come out that you didn't know. So this is again discovery. So let me invite you. We'll just do 2 minutes. So don't write as many rounds. Maybe you'll only get 4 or 5 rounds before you get to the center. But the center star is your destination. You start at the outside in the top corner here. And I think the question could be something like, what helps me arrive at the very core or the center of me? So we might say, what helps me become soul conscious? Or if you're not regularly practicing soul consciousness, what helps you get past all the static and the noise and get to the real core, to the essence of you inside? All right, so we're just going to write for 2 minutes, and then our time is almost up. So big font, maybe 4 loops is all. Here we go, begin. How do I get to what helps me get to this core? So it's almost like a meditation commentary. Hey, hopefully you're getting close. And we're coming right to the end, right to the star at the center. We didn't go as many loops. has this picture here in front of us. And if you have done this and you've completed, I'll invite you now just to read it to yourself silently. Read what you've written. And often what we do is we go back and we circle maybe 3, 4, 5 keywords that we really like. So take a moment now and just read it to yourself. Okay. So you may still be writing. I'm going to invite you now just to take a moment and just check in with yourself. How do you feel after just this very brief bit of writing that we've done here? It's been 50 minutes, a little bit less, 45 minutes we've been together. And we've done 5 different writing exercises in that very short time. Just check in with yourself. And how do you feel after writing today? Lynn says motivated. Thanks, Lynn, for offering an answer for, yeah. Thanks, Mina. Great. I know. It's interesting, isn't it? How refreshing it is. I know. Lighter. Look at this. I know. So I think that's why we do it, right? It's creative. Okay. Peaceful. Thanks, Liam. Great. I'm just reading all your notes here. So honestly, for me, I think this is about enjoying solitude in my own company and just finding clever strategies to help me write, to help me go inside. I didn't know what I didn't know, says Sue. Great. And I will try. Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing screen here. And gosh, that went by so quickly. I hope those are useful little prompts, useful to you. And I think we're at the time where we're supposed to open for questions. So I'll finish there. And
that was really great. Thank you. Thank you, Judy. So if anybody does have any questions, please do send them in the chat. I don't think we've received any as yet. I think we've all been very busy writing away.
Too busy, good.
That's right. Actually, we have got one. How to subscribe to the daily thoughts that you write?
Oh, yes, I should tell you that, shouldn't I? Okay. Gosh, I should have been quicker on this. Let me see. How do you do that? Well, actually, okay, I'm just going to give you the email, halifax@ca.brahmakumaris.org. Okay, so that's the email address if you want it by email. And the WhatsApp number, because some people like it on WhatsApp and some people like it on email. So whichever your choice is, we have 2 going. 3102. There you go. Either of those.
That's great. Thank you so much.
And I'm going to send Ruth the chart book with all our questions in it, if that's okay, Ruth. And if anybody does want it, they're like regular BK student chart book, but they're good. And also I'll send Ruth a list of all of our questions if they're helpful. Yeah.
That will be great. Thank you. So if anybody still has any questions, please do put them in the chat. But that's been a really great session. I've really enjoyed it. And I think I've avoided journaling or writing because I'm not a creative person. I'm very structured and a perfectionist, so I don't like to write. But I found this really easy, and it's so easy when you just like start writing, have a question, and just start answering, and it just flows, doesn't it? So yeah, I think there's nothing to be afraid of, to just sit down and write freely. But yeah, thank you. That was really thought-provoking, and like somebody said, I didn't know what I don't know. So I like that as well. I don't think we've got any more questions. So I was thinking, there's a lot of thank yous. Thank you so much. I enjoyed it. I was just thinking, well, maybe what I'll do is I'll share what our upcoming events are, and then perhaps we could end with a guided meditation by yourself, Judy, just to end the evening with, if that's okay with you. Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah.
Great. What country is the WhatsApp in, so I can add it? So this is Canada. The WhatsApp will be in Canadian number. Okay, so our upcoming events are at the Inner Space. We've got an in-person seminar on next Thursday. That's tomorrow, the 28th, 7 to 8 p.m. And that's the Art of Assertiveness, a wonderful seminar. So if you can come along, it's still light in the evening, so try and make the most of it to get to these. And then we have another seminar next Tuesday, which is another popular one, Think More Positively, 7 to 8 p.m. For that one as well. And then the Sunday, we've got a special event, What's on Your Mind? And this is for the youth, for people, anybody aged between 18 to 30. So if you have any viewers within that age group, or you have any siblings or children, please do ask them to come along. It's an interactive session, and it's the title is What's on Your Mind? A conversation about me, us, and everything in between. I've attended one of them just as an observer, and it's really, really good. So all this information can be found at our website, and also you can join our mailing list by going onto the website at Innerspace, manchester.innerspace.org, and just click on the mailing list. And also all our regular social media outlets will have all the information there for you. So all that remains before we end is to say a very big thank you to Judy for that wonderful session. Thank you to our viewers for joining us again today, and I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. And I'll pass it over to Judy to end with a meditation. Thank you.
Thank you, Nilima, for being such a lovely host. Really enjoyed it. And I look forward to all those books that will come somehow out of your writing, all of you. Let's just have a moment together, and just maybe I'll invite you to close your eyes and to be in your inner space inside with yourself, and just check the contours of your mind. Check the contours of the inner space that you inhabit as a soul. And just check the color, the quality of this inner space you have created for yourself right here and now in this session, because your writing has taken you inwards to yourself. So just check and see if you can visualize the beauty of that inner space that is your core, the vibrancy. I think I heard some of you say refreshed. It's very refreshing, very calm and peaceful in here, but there's great clarity. And with great clarity, with just a tiny bit of work to get in there and discover what you know, but you didn't know that you knew, that clarity that emerges gives you power, gives you strength, gives you courage, gives you hope. And now imagine that you're sitting under a divine spotlight, and the rays of the divine are shining down into that inner space of yours and filling you with light, and filling the core of your being with pure energy, pure power. And as you take a deep breath in, just feel how wholesome, how healthy, how alive, and how well you, the soul, feel in this moment. Om Shanti.